Hi, I'm Panda Hershey, and I work with entrepreneurs using astrology to help them make strategic decisions and take day to day actions so that their businesses and personal lives are in sync with the natural energetic flow of the universe. Welcome to the November 20th Coffee and Charts call, where we talk about how Mercury retrograde is starting on November 25th and how to use it to test your ideas for finding your path forward into 2025. I even share how I'm using it to test a mini beta in my own business. Listen to our conversation so you'll know what to do day by day, and I'll see you on the other side. So, Jen, I can't remember. Is this your first one here? You can just nod or. Yes. Okay. Well, welcome. So great to have you. Let me put the chat on in case I need it. Coffee and Charts, to anyone new here or listening to the replay for the very first time, is an opportunity to get an outlook for the next 2 weeks. I will walk it through, and you are invited to interrupt me with questions and just see how it applies to your life. Like if you feel like something's resonating, then stop me, and it's totally fine. But what I'm going to do is just start off with a picture of today. And this is a schematic of here in Berkeley, basically at, love it that you guys know each other, of a schematic at basically noon here in Berkeley, California. And at noon, it shows, like, for example, here is the sun. This is that picture of, this is that symbol for the sun in the skies because it's above this horizon. And the planets move generally in this direction, in this counterclockwise direction, except when they're moving retrograde. So, for example, Mercury here with the green line is about to station retrograde in less than a week, and it will start to move in this clockwise direction. And so we'll be able to watch that a little bit, but you'll also see it slowing down. And I'm such a visual learner that this is how I've kind of gotten the concept of how things move. And just to point out things like the moon here in this very light blue is about to cross over Mars tonight. You can actually see this in the sky. So go out tonight and look for Mars and the moon together. And the Mars will be very bright. So take a look at that. Okay, so where are we today on November 20th? The Mercury portal is open. I've been talking about it constantly. Here is Mercury here. The portal goes from 6.5 to 22.5 degrees of Sagittarius. So it's moving forward still, and it's going to start moving backward. Pluto is here. And you can see here, I can barely read that. I think it says 0 degrees, 1 minute. It just moved into Aquarius yesterday. This is a big deal because Pluto's energy is about inspiring us to do everything we can to apply all of our tools and wisdom to do whatever this style is. And this is to make changes to the status quo. Sometimes we go kicking and screaming. Sometimes we're like, oh my God, yes, I am so in, and I'm going to do everything I need to. And this is what began yesterday. As I've mentioned, it is a 20-year journey, but it starts with little things. And the key is to look for obvious things that you've had in your life that cannot sustain. For example, a structure or a system or framework that is not going to sustain where you're going or where you know your life is going, and taking those steps to work with it. What else happened last week is that Saturn stationed started moving forward. So Saturn is here. It's going to move forward through Pisces. This is our energy for the next 3 months of discerning who we want around us, whose feelings we are going to have around us day to day. And finally, Mars here is going to station retrograde in about 2 weeks. And so you can feel it slowing down. And it's barely going to move in the next 2 weeks. Mars is about commitment. Leo is about, here's what I have to offer. I've got talent and I want you all to see it. So if you're putting your heart into that and you're getting responses and people enjoying what you have to offer, that's fantastic. Just know you're going to hit a wall and you're going to have to retrench a little bit. But look for that inspiration, look for that excitement to be showing up in your life for the rest of the year, because that is the key to finding your path forward. Okay, so we're going to look at the planets move. And Mercury here tomorrow is opposite the end of the Jupiter portal. So to the extent that you are thinking about your path forward and incorporating everything you learned over the summer, your mindset grew in some way, think about how you're tapping into that and using it to help you move into this new world. And it's been probably for the last week that this has been happening. Think through that, how that's been helpful. So, and then on next Monday, the 25th, Mercury stations retrograde. So it is going to start moving in this direction. And notice the sun starting to move toward it. And 2 days later, the sun will move into that area of 6.5 to 22.5 degrees of Sagittarius, this whole portal. And this is that testing phase that I always talk about that happens with every Mercury retrograde. It's the day you get to begin trying out some of those ideas. And you can see the sun and Mercury moving closer toward each other. And as Mercury moves backward, it's going to go across from this Jupiter portal a second time. So really thinking again, what did I learn over the summer? How am I using it? How is it helpful in what I'm trying to figure out for moving forward? And look, oh, I'm going to go back just because look at the moon in here. This is kind of fun. I think that'll be a great day, actually. Some inspiration, perhaps. On the 2nd of December, the sun is also opposite that Jupiter portal. And so what are you doing that is incorporating what you learned over the summer, how your mind expanded? And then on the 4th, Mercury is exactly opposite Jupiter. So same sort of thing. And that's the day we meet again. So there's really not a lot of, I'm going to say big energies, except for finding your way forward with all of this energy and doing your testing. I find that a big relief. And let's take a look at that one more time. Apologize for that extra little set of graphics there. Okay, so fun things to look at. The sun and Mercury coming at each other. They will cross over each other in more than 2 weeks. And the moon is always fun to watch how quickly it moves around the circle. Okay, here we go. All right. So with the backdrop of Pluto having moved into Aquarius, knowing that things are going to be different going forward. I've been on some coaching calls recently where I've seen this show up in people's lives. It's a hint, like my husband's department is going to get restructured in January, and you get these 2 months to prepare. And it's that kind of hint that you know things are going to change. What are you going to do? And so, what systems need an overhaul in your life or are being overhauled and you're coming along with it? And how are you adapting to that, finding a way forward? And in this time before Mercury stations retrograde on Monday, what final ideas are you generating for embodying this new life and then being able to test them starting a week from now? My mind has been slowing down. I feel like I don't have as many new ideas as much as how am I extending the ones I've already got on my list. You might be feeling the same way. And go back to however your mindset grew, however your awareness expanded over the summer. How is that helpful for you in finding your path forward? So, oh, you know what? I just realized I didn't do this properly. Okay, here we go. Dang it. We're going to walk through these. They're not going to come up one by one like they normally do. I don't know why I didn't finish this. Okay, the first thing is that Mercury is from the 11th to the 21st. So till tomorrow, Mercury has been moving opposite this Jupiter portal. This is where you grew in your awareness over the summer. And that wraps up its first round of doing that tomorrow. So how are you pulling together those lessons to find your path forward? Then yesterday, Pluto moved into Aquarius. And so recognize that things are changing and shifting. And that is the backdrop really for the next 20 years. Then on the 25th, I cannot believe I didn't do this. Wait, hang on. Let me just see. Okay, you know what? Maybe I did after all, but I didn't. Okay, here we go. Apologize. Mercury stations retrograde on the 25th. So if you feel like your mind has hit a wall, there is a reason. It's okay. It's time to just stop trying to think you should come up with more ideas. Go over the ones you have. And you get to start testing 2 days after that retrograde begins, starting next Wednesday. Okay. Then it's about 2.5 weeks that the sun will be moving through this portal up here from 6.5 to 22.5 degrees of Sagittarius. It's exact on the 5th. That's the day that Mercury and the sun cross over each other. That may be a very busy day, but how are you testing? I am personally, like in my own business, I'm going to do like a mini beta offer and just see how it goes and see, who takes it up, test messaging, possibly start seeing how I feel about doing it and just seeing what results I get in that short amount of time. And then use the time from the end of the retrograde to January to figure out how did that go for me? What did I like? What do I need to tweak? So think about that. It doesn't have to be business. It can be another situation in your life where you're thinking, we've got some ideas. How do we just set a short testing period just for everyone to give it a try? And then we agree to regroup and talk about how it went. Then Mercury, as it's moving retrograde or backward, is going across from the Jupiter portal again, helping you hopefully to recall all the things you learned over the summer and put them to use. Maybe you'll recognize that things are clicking. And finally, from the 2nd to the 12th, inside this time period where the sun is moving through the Mercury portal, it is also opposite this Jupiter portal. So what are you doing to really embody and feel stretched, frankly? I think in some ways it's like this is a stretch period to really test out how well you've learned and gotten used to all the things you experienced over the summer in terms of increasing your mindset. So it's like, okay, big stretch here. And once you turn that corner, it's like, okay, I feel like I've got something now. And you'll be starting to get ready for your next period of growth. Okay, so tips to thrive. Your mind might feel a little slower, might feel like it's on repeat, and it could definitely feel like it's hitting a wall. And this is Mercury going retrograde. So focus on reviewing the ideas that you've got, bounce them, right? You don't live in an echo chamber. So find someone to talk through them with. This is a great way to take what you've got and think about, how do I test this stuff? Because from November 27th to the 13th, you will get to do that. And think about, how is your growth in your awareness or mindset coming into that testing? How are you using that? And this backdrop of looking for cracks in the current systems or frameworks that could prevent growth in your business or hinder progress in your life in some way. How can you be taking action over the next 2 months to build something more sustainable? And this Mercury portal is part of the way to doing that, finding the way forward. All right. And just for people on the replay, the Mercury retrograde is coming. Get ready. It's so exciting. And one of the things it can definitely help you do is set the right Q1 2025 goals for your business so that you're not wasting your time on the wrong strategy. Testing now will help you recognize what you can hopefully have some success with and at least be headed in the right direction once 2025 gets here. And I've got some trainings, still going to start them, still do them once the retrograde starts. So if you're interested, just DM me on Instagram. Okay. Questions. This is a great time to say, okay, here's what's going on with me, and any ideas on how I use this for my life or my business. Feel free to unmute. Does it matter what time? Does it matter what time? Jen, do you want to unmute and clarify the question?
It was way back at the beginning. Oh, you said to go look out at the moon tonight because it's going to be crossing with Mars. Is there a specific time that's going to happen?
I think it will, whenever time you can see the moon, you'll be able to see Mars, because the moon is moving faster than Mars. It won't pass by it like in a flash.
Right. Got it. Okay.
Yeah. It's going to be raining here, so I don't think I'll get to see it, sadly. Yeah, probably for Dawn too.
Yeah. I have a question. Sorry, I was late. I was on here at 8 o'clock and then I got distracted. It happens. But in the beginning, did you say anything about what Uranus is doing right now? Somehow I have this question about Uranus and I don't know what it is.
So Uranus is the energy of restructuring. If you guys are tarot card people, think about the tower.
Yeah.
Things falling down and needing to be rebuilt. And that is restructuring because it's in the style of Taurus. It's about our body. It's about our presence. It's about our tools and the things that are attached to us. So your skills are things like that. Your resources are all part of that. And all of that has been getting restructured for a while.
That's what I thought.
Yes. And so it is actually slowing down because it will start moving forward again. The period this fall has been about, I think if you guys can think back to, I'll say February, March of this year and how you showed up then versus how you show up now, it's different.
Mm-hmm.
It's totally different. And you have been integrating all this fall since September 1st, those changes. It's getting easier to show up differently and you feel more comfortable with it. Last week, when the sun was actually in Scorpio opposite opposite Uranus, it was this recognition of, oh God, things have really changed because not only have you changed, other people have changed too. And this doing things that kind of point out how much things have changed came to light. That full moon was in that portal as well, which was why it was partly why it was so powerful. So I don't want to say I was a wreck, but I had a hard time just like dealing with stuff last week and through the weekend. And this was part of that energy. So
yeah,
good question. Does that resonate for anyone? Was last week a big thing? Okay.
Well, there was this one thing that happened nationwide that might have caught our attention right around that time.
Yes.
But yeah, and then my other question is, can you give a really summary of Pluto? Like Uranus is changing systems and structures. Can you give like a little one-liner about what Pluto is, just so I can put it in context?
Yeah, Pluto is doing everything you can.
Okay,
I think of it as your New Year's resolution. It is this like pulling together all your tools and wisdom, all of your experience to make something happen.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah. And so with Aquarius, it is about identifying what's wrong with the status quo and trying to make it better.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Oh, Allie, you're doing better. Any other questions here? This is like the perfect time to be asking anything. Who's got ideas for testing?
You just said something. Aquarius is about challenging the status quo. Is that what you said? Sorry.
Yes. There is a whole generation of children who have Neptune in Aquarius. I think, gosh, and I think they are in their late teens. And well, you know what? I'm not even going to say anymore.
I'll bet it's through part of their 20s because I have one of those.
Yeah, where it's effortless for them to point out what's wrong to the status quo. They've been doing it all their lives, and all they can do is like, hey, this is obviously wrong. Greta Thunberg is definitely in that bucket.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Of course, I'm a problematic Aquarian, so
it's never a problem. You can see something that needs fixing. Yeah.
It's exhausting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Panda.
Yeah.
Hi. Can you repeat the time frame when you said you were going to start your mini beta? I lost track of those dates.
November 27th to December 13th is the testing phase. And so you can start now. You can start messaging it now. It's totally fine. But the information you get during that period especially is for evaluating how effective is this idea for me going forward. So feel free to start testing now. I've actually taken steps toward it. And I'm going to have a conversation on Tuesday that will help me think about, okay, what might I put out to my email list or on Instagram for calling this in and seeing what level of interest there might be. So just see.
And can you tell us what you're going to be beta testing?
Yeah, it's a kind of 3-session experience of it's like revamping astrology readings to apply them to your business. So like, how are you building a business that's aligned with who you are? So looking at your tools and talents, if you've ever gotten my cards, then you know what that means. Pointing out where it's going well, but where things feel a little out of whack, and then focusing on what can be done to adjust your business. And then also looking at where are things going? What goals do you have? And so looking forward to into the next 6 months and saying, okay, well, here are the things you can focus on. Here would be an appropriate time to do projects you have or accomplish goals that you have. Here would be the integration phase for that. And here are the tools that you'd be using as you do that. So kind of that's the idea. You know, we're talking beta here, so I want to see how it plays out. I hope that gives you guys ideas on what to do for yourselves.
I had a question just about that. Oh, when you're talking about creating a business path that is really about who you are. Sounds amazing, by the way. Is that aligned with one of the energies that we're in, right? Or one of the way the planets are looking right now, like that specifically living into who you really are? Or is that something that you're, I don't know.
I think it ties in. That's a great question, Jen. So some of the messaging that I would incorporate would be based on what I've talked about. It would be, things are not quite working. What needs tweaking? What needs to change in the structure that you've got, because it can't last. And so that's the Pluto, right? So are there processes in the way that you're doing things that need to shift to be more in alignment with how you work, how you operate? That's one. The other thing is this Uranus in Taurus, you're showing up differently. And so I can use that in my messaging as well. Feel free to use anything I talk about, you guys, in your own messaging and apply it however you need it. But you are showing up differently. Are you ready to keep going on that path and make your business, have your business align with who you are? Shift your business to accommodate your skills and your talents more fully. So these are the things that I'm thinking through. But whatever the work you're doing, it's the same thing, but your audience needs to hear it like targeted to a different goal. Is that making sense for you guys?
It is. I have one more question too, just on that line. Then it also sounds like breaking down the systems that aren't working also applies to a personal level, where you're breaking down the systems that you're stuck in yourself.
It always comes back to us.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
Great questions, Jen. Love it.
Really interesting. Fascinating.
Okay. So we're set for 2 weeks, you guys, right? I can't wait to hear what you guys are testing. Let me know. This is so much fun. Yeah. Okay. And if you know anyone who needs to know that the Mercury retrograde is a tool, send them my way. I would love to have them. All right, you guys, I'll see you in 2 weeks. Happy Thanksgiving. If you celebrate that, if you're in the US, and have a wonderful, restful time. Appreciate it. Bye.
Thank you, Panda.
I hope you feel prepared to move easily through these next 2 weeks. Even if it's not obvious right now, there is a path forward, and I bet you have a few ideas. So use the rest of this year to find it. And if you are ready to see how the Mercury retrograde can help you find that path forward, DM me Mercury on Instagram at It's Panda Hershey, and I'll send you the link to my next free training. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.